Donovan Mitchell is being talked about quite a lot these days, isn't he? That's because he just moved from the Utah Jazz to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it's a big deal because, well, he was with his previous club for 5 freaking years. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Mitchell, his lifestyle, and his net worth. So make sure to stay until the end of the video to learn all about it. First up, a little bit about Mitchell. To start this video off, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about Donovan Mitchell. But don't worry, folks, we won't be spending more than a minute on this. So, of course, as we all know, Mitchell's an American basketball player. He's 26 years old, and he celebrates his birthday on the 7th of September. He played for the Utah Jazz for 5 years, and this year, he's moved on to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, was this a smart move or not? Well, that's for you to decide. Let us know in the comments below how you feel about this move. Donovan used to play college basketball as well. He played for the Louisville Cardinals. He was then selected by the Denver Nuggets with the 13th overall pick in the 2017 NBA draft. After that, he was traded on draft night to the Utah Jazz, and, well, the rest is history. Next up, his earnings and his net worth. While we aren't aware of Donovan's exact net worth, estimates put it between $20 and $25 million. Either way, not too shabby. It seems that Mitchell's a really rich man, and considering he's only 26 years old, he has some more time to grow that number even further. In his first 3 seasons with the NBA, he earned somewhere around $9 million in salary. Now, isn't that impressive? Then in November 2020, he signed a 5-year deal that was worth a whopping $163 million. Oh, but that's not all. His contract was set to be worth even more depending on performance milestones. It could have reached a whopping $200 million. As of 2022, his salary was $28.1 million. Now, if you don't think that's a lot, why don't we break it down for you? That comes up to a little over $2.3 million per month, and per day, that sounds even crazier. This figure comes out to $79,000 per day. Now, folks, if this doesn't impress you, then we don't know what will. Really. It's actually impressive how much money he's been able to earn. Yet, folks, you'll be extremely surprised to know he didn't even make the top 15 NBA earners list in 2022. That list started out with LeBron James and ended with Luka Doncic, with a whole host of high earners sitting in between the two. So it's a truly staggering fact that despite earning so much money, Mitchell hasn't made the list. While we're sitting here having our jaws dropped over his immense wealth, let's not forget that LeBron made a whopping $120 million that year. Up next, how much money will he be making from the Cavs deal? So there were 2 months of discussions between the Jazz and the Knicks over Donovan Mitchell, and then, like a vulture, the Cavs just swooped him and acquired the guard. They'll be now sending back to the Utah Jazz a haul featuring 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, and Ochai Agbaji. Now, when we start considering the expected improvement and development of Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, and then we add their new acquisition, Mitchell, we can expect that the Cavs will definitely improve quite a bit in the Eastern Conference. Now, we're going to be discussing how this happened and the financial logistics of it. So to be able to pay Mitchell, the Cavs have signed Sexton to a 4-year, $72 million deal and traded him to the Utah Jazz. So considering that his first-year salary could start as low as $16.7 million. However, that'll still be a 20% raise when considering his salary from last season. Now, here's the thing. Mitchell has a 15% trade bonus, but that's going to be capped at the $30.9 million maximum salary for this season. So what does this mean? This means that his salary for this year and the next 2 seasons has seen an increase of $560,000. Now, considering all the amounts that we've talked about, this doesn't sound like that much of an increase, but come on, he got a raise that's worth over $500,000. It might not be all that we'd expected, but it's still quite an impressive raise. Moving on, Donovan's car collection. So now we've established how he earns his money and how much he should be expecting to earn in the next few seasons. Now let's talk about how he spends all that money. Now, of course, it's common knowledge that Mitchell spends on cars. He loves them, and he can't have enough of them. And why shouldn't he spend on them? He's making millions of dollars now, isn't he? Right so. He has about 7 extremely notable cars, and we're going to talk about all of them. So the first car we're going to talk about is the Dodge Charger Daytona. This car is going to set you back $79,900, and it's an American classic. It's a limited production run car, so while it might not be the most expensive car on his list, you won't be seeing a lot of it on the road either. And of course, it has a 6.2-liter V8 engine and produces 717 horsepower. That makes this car faster than a bullet. So next time you see a Daytona out on the road, remember that they're pretty rare, so you might just see Donovan inside it. Donovan also owns a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. This car's worth $80,000, and it's one of the best off-roaders to exist. This really does show that Mitchell has quite impressive taste when it comes to cars, doesn't he? But this is a rough car. It's an off-roader. Obviously, Donovan also wants something comfortable to travel in. And don't worry, folks, he's got just the car for that. Following up, more on his car collection. Now, if the Jeep starts hurting his back, he could easily move into the S-Class. This car is super large, it's comfortable, and it's packed with that reliable German tech. And that's exactly why one of these cars will set you back $135,000. But that isn't really much for the player now, is it? It's the go-to car for folks who want the comfort of a Rolls-Royce, but want to stay low-key while they're at it. But that's not all. He also has a Range Rover SVR. Now, this car is a British icon, and it's one of the best SUVs to exist on the market. Now, this car shows that he's a basketball player and that he spends like one because it set him back $185,000. But that isn't even the most expensive Range Rover he owns. Surprising, right? He also owns a Range Rover SV Autobiography. Now, this isn't much different from his other Rover, but it's bigger, more luxurious, and costs a whopping $220,000. And it seems like he's got a knack for expensive SUVs because the next car on this list is a $240,000 SUV. Yep, we're talking about none other than the Lamborghini Urus. Now we're in the big leagues. This has kind of become a celebrity SUV, and we've seen many famous faces drive this car. However, he does own a Lamborghini Huracan as well. Yep, this $300,000 supercar is probably his favorite. It's powered by a V10 and it's fast as heck. Now, this is the car he probably gets into when he wants to be all flashy. Let's talk about how Mitchell spent his first $1 million. Now, here's the thing. He wasn't always this rich, and he came from humble beginnings. So while $1 million might even end up being a rounding error for the guy, it's something that was kind of a big deal when he was first starting out. Like, imagine all of a sudden you have $1 million in your pocket. So what did he do with all that money? Well, being the petrol head that he is, he spends quite a bit on cars. He spends $50,000 on an Audi for his mom. He also spends $60,000 on a Jeep Sahara for his sister. And then finally, he spent around $90,000 on a Porsche Panamera for himself. This definitely was very kind of him to spend around $110,000 on cars for his family. But his niceness doesn't just end there, folks. He paid for his mom's house as well. That set him back $250,000, but we're sure it made her extremely happy. Not only that, but the guy also paid $300,000 to his sister so she could go to college without ever worrying about the finances. Wow, we wish we had a brother like him. And the good deeds don't just stop there, folks. He also gave $250,000 to his foundation, Spider Cares. Now, this organization works with students who aren't that privileged and come from unrepresented backgrounds. It helps them achieve their academic and athletic goals. The fact that he spends a quarter of his first earnings on this organization really shows he's someone who cares. We're glad to see that. Finishing up, some financial advice from the guy. Mitchell clearly knows how to be successful, and he clearly seems like a smart guy. So why don't we listen to what he has to say about earning and saving money? Because it seems evident that while NBA has given Mitchell financial freedom, he still kind of remains cautious about his spending. Here, take a look at what he said about this. I think the biggest thing for me is not only just being able to give back, but also saving for myself. And it's not just spending, it's also about keeping it for generational wealth. There are times when you just want to enjoy the life that you have and understanding that there are times for that too. He also stated that while we really should be enjoying life, we need to be mindful because this money can blow away extremely quickly if you're not careful with it. That's a wrap for this video. Do you guys think Mitchell gave the right financial advice? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.